Welcome back to Dirty 20, guys. Today, we're looking at my personal top 5 YouTube channels dedicated to D&D with some honorable mentions. Let's get on with the show. Now, as you probably know, as you're on this platform right now, YouTube is an amazing tool where you can learn everything from video editing to D&D rules and lore. Today, we're going to discuss my personal top 5 D&D related YouTube channels with some honorable mentions thrown in because, to be honest, there's a lot of really great ones. We're going to start with lore. Now, as I said before, there are a lot of D&D related YouTube channels, and lore is one that a lot of them deal with. Before we get to my personal favorite, I want to mention a few that I still really enjoy and I would recommend you check out. One that has a lot of content is called The Mighty Glue Stick. On here, you can get some really in-depth looks at monsters and monster ecologies, as well as history and general lore of D&D from pretty much any edition, not just 5th, but he does quite a lot related to 5th edition. Now, the official D&D YouTube channel has a little bit of everything, including rules and advice on running the game. But one of my favorite things that they do is called Lore You Should Know, and they abbreviate it as LYSK. One of the really cool things that they do on the official D&D channel is they interview a lot of the writers and editors from Wizards of the Coast. And so you're getting kind of straight from the horse's mouth a lot of cool information related to some of the modules that they bring out. And so it is a very, very interesting thing to watch on YouTube. My favorite lore channel is one called Jorphdan with a PH. He's a really, really funny guy, and he does these kind of bite-sized lore videos. He's done a lot on the Forgotten Realms, but he's also gone into things like Eberron. And what I really enjoy about them is if there's something that I want to kind of find out about, but maybe I don't want to spend ages reading in depth or kind of researching online, he kind of does all that work for you. And in about a 10-minute video, he tells you all about a deity or a city or something like that. For example, I remember I was doing an adventure where my players had arrived in Arm, and they were going into a city, and I was unsure about how the culture was and how I would represent that. I didn't have a lot of time to prepare, so I went to Jorphdan with a PH, found his ARM video, which he had like 2 or 3 on, and it was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. So definitely check him out. Jorphdan with a PH. He's also very funny. Now, live play is something that I've talked about in the past as being quite useful in terms of if you have no idea what D&D is and how D&D is played, watching people play it can be a good indicator. And for that, there are loads and loads of live plays. But some of my favorites include, for example, MCDM's, Matt Colville's channel, where they do the Chain of Acheron, which is a really kind of in-depth political, it has a lot of layers to it, and I really enjoyed it whilst they were doing it. They're currently on an extended break, but I'm looking forward to them to get back to it. Now, you can't really talk D&D and YouTube without discussing Critical Role. These guys are the gold standard of live play. They are voice actors who are fantastic in the roleplay element. Their DM, Matt Mercer, is, in my opinion, a fantastic dungeon master and weaves really, really cool stories. And I've really enjoyed watching the first campaign. I'm not caught up with the second campaign, but all things said, they are absolutely brilliant, and they would be my number 2 choice in my top 5. My number 3 choice would be a live play called Acquisitions Inc. Now, these guys have been around for a really, really long time, and they are in some ways connected to Wizards of the Coast. They are the people who put on Penny Arcade, which is a company that does or did a lot of online comics and animation, and they do kind of these conventions. And at these conventions, the Acquisition Inc., which is the name of this party, they do live play in front of an audience. Now, then, what's quite interesting about Acquisitions Inc. is that although they are in front of an audience, it actually feels the most like an actual game of D&D, in the sense that there's people joking around and there's a lot of messing around, there's a lot of silliness, there's quipping about the idiotic things that the people are doing, but there's also lots of epic moments, there's some emotional moments, and I find it to be the most fun of the live play D&D channels. Now, here at Dirty 20, we like to think that we are trying to help people who are learning to play or improving their knowledge of the game itself. So that is a category that I enjoy very much of YouTube channels with regards to D&D. And for me, there are 2 that stand a little bit above the rest. The first one being WebDM, which is so informative. The 2 guys who do it, Jim and Pruitt, are fantastically funny, and they are, old school geeks, which I absolutely love. And they really help to give you a sense of the kinds of things that you can do, whether it's home brewing things or whether it's being a better player or a better dungeon master, which I really appreciate, and I never miss one of their videos. The last of my kind of top 5 choices, and probably the one that I use the most whenever anybody asks, what should I look up if I want to learn to play D&D, is Matt Colville's series called Running the Game. When it originally started, and I think it's like 80 plus videos into the series, it was very much trying to encourage people to start running Dungeons & Dragons, so being a dungeon master. And he encourages people to do it whether they've played before or whether they've never played before. I think he's very, very encouraging, and he makes you feel like it's possible to run it, whereas if you just kind of look at the books and read the books, it feels a little bit overwhelming. He covers everything from things like role-playing to politics to all of those elements, whether it's the CR rating or using elements of 4th edition in your game to make things faster and a little bit more fun. He covers a huge range of stuff, and I have watched pretty much all of his videos multiple times. I really, really recommend it. So those are most of my top 5s, with some kind of very close honorable mentions, and I would feel remiss to not mention some other ones that I really recommend you check out. All of these will have links in the description below. Please check them out, give them a like, drop a comment, let them know that we sent you there, because they are really, really wonderful D&D channels. So for the honorable mentions, I would definitely include the Dungeon Dudes, who are 2 Canadian guys, really funny, very sweet, and very informative. They take their stuff very seriously, which I like, and they are, like I say, informative and very knowledgeable. I'd also mention Tulok The Barbarian, who we've talked about in our character creation videos. He does builds for kind of characters from popular culture, whether it's movies, TV shows, comic books, things like that. Also, when I first started on 5th edition, I found Don't Stop Thinking. This was a really good channel where the presenter gave really simple, easy to understand instructions on how to build a cleric or how to build a monk. And it has this kind of cool little, really basic animation, which I really, really enjoyed. And I think also worth checking out. Other channels that I found really interesting over the years have been things like Dawnforgedcast, where I found their Session 0 stuff really, really helpful. I also really enjoyed WASD20 and a lot of his kind of map making tutorials and book reviews and stuff like that. Really like him. There's also Taking 20, where the presenter... He's fantastic with things like Roll20, which right now is a, very useful thing if you're looking to get into online play. And he has a lot of interesting videos. For example, I really enjoyed his How to Kill Your Party With series, where he would pick a bad guy, often quite a weak or considered to be weak bad guy, whether it's goblins or Sahuagin or what have you, and he would tell you as a dungeon master how they can be really deadly and really interesting to use in your combat encounters. Then you also have How to Be a Great GM. The guy who presents that's very kind of dramatic and is quite funny. I think that his stuff is very interesting, especially for people who are aspiring dungeon masters. And again, a guy who kind of takes his stuff very seriously. A really popular YouTube channel is one called Nerdarchy, which has been around for a while, and they always have interesting stuff on character builds and how to optimize things. I think they're kind of the most old school kind of YouTube channel that I have mentioned today, and they are really fun and very sweet. Finally, you've got Dirty 20, this very channel that you're on. Hopefully, we're giving you lots of great content that you can enjoy, and you are able to share this with your friends, giving us a like, giving us a subscribe, supporting this channel. We thank you so, so much. As always, thanks for coming and keep slaying. If you've enjoyed this content, then please smash that like button, subscribe, share this around online, and come and visit our website, www.lavictoriaproductions.com, to see all our past episodes, as well as our blog posts and all the stuff that we're currently working on at La Victoria Productions. Why not reach out to us and tell us what you think of our videos? You can reach us on Twitter. @MouthLaVictoria is our producer. We are also on Instagram. I am EnanoLVP, and our producer is Jazzy J. Cherot. We're also La Victoria Productions on Facebook and LinkedIn. Come on by and let us know what you think.